What's up, everybody? My name is Eric, and this is LawWon Gaming. And I'm coming to you from post-commentary land because my system has been a little bit screwy lately. Windows decided to just upgrade to Windows 10 by itself, because I don't pay attention to the patch notes or whatever. So I just woke up to find Windows 10 one day, and it was like, okay, that's fine, but then it took a while for me to even get my headset working correctly, and it still kind of doesn't. And then when I recorded this episode as well as the next episode, which I'm combining into one episode, so there'll be a cut in the middle that you'll see. My microphone settings were screwed up on OBS, and it didn't record. So, I am playing these videos at 2x speed, or, yeah, around the 2 times. And we're just going to go ahead and kind of watch through it together. I don't know if this is going to be like a react video or no, because I'm not going to put a webcam. Anyway, so that's what's going on here. And that's why it's post-commentary and super fast speed. So, in this episodes, we continue our rampage-ish. We continue to build up for our rampage against Colradia. And in these 2 episodes, I mostly focus on the trade game. Just kind of going back and forth, building up a little bit of money here and there. Familiarizing or refamiliarizing myself with kind of the trade values for the cities and whatnot, and just generally doing stupid stuff along the way. Every now and then we'll have a tournament too. And you might notice at this point that the game audio is ridiculously high and fast. And I could have fixed it, and I could have gotten rid of it, but it was just too perfect. So I left it in there, because I like the idea of little medieval mice fighting and cheering. So, yeah, it's there. It's there for me, and no one else. But if I know other people appreciate it, so be it. So, what else is going on? Oh! The medieval fighting mice. That reminds me. Did you know that rats can laugh? True. It is true. If you don't believe me, I recommend right now, pause this video, open up a new YouTube browser window, and look up rats laughing. And you will find a video where a neuroscientist explains how they discovered that rats laugh. And it's adorable. So rats laugh, and mice fight, and have tournaments and medieval societies and all that stuff. Which actually isn't too far off of a lot of fictional settings. Like, there was one book I read when I was a kid. It was called, I think, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. Mrs. Frizzy and the Rats of... I don't know. But Mrs. Frisbee was a mouse, and one season, I think in the fall or summer, her mouse husband died. Was killed in like a farming accident or something by like the farmer whose land they lived upon. And she had like little mouse kids, and she had to like seek the help of the rats of Nim, who were super intelligent rats who had escaped a science lab and founded their own society and own kind of stuff. If you haven't read it, I recommend checking out the book. I don't know if there's like a movie or anything. I bet there's a movie. There's got to be a movie. Because it's like a pretty old book and it's a pretty big kids thing. I mean, there's a movie for Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I never thought I'd see that one coming. Another great children's story, by the way, which I have read. I don't want to brag, as a big children's book reader, but did you know everyone poops? Yeah, not many people knew that. So yeah, Mrs. Frisbee and the Ransom Nymphs. I know I'm getting the name wrong, but I'm not going to look it up. And yeah, I could be talking about what's going on, but I kind of already summed it up. We're just doing quests and trying to get some XP, complaining about the game mechanics a little bit more here and there, as we try to get this merchant to actually go to Riva Chig. And yeah, building up XP, building up money, checking the taverns for people, learning poems for no reason, and just doing the trade game. Not a whole lot else to say about that. So we'll go back to the random tangents, if you don't mind. So what we're talking about, Mr. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yeah, that's the one. I have not seen the George Clooney claymation movie for it. It always looked like something that was never going to be too interesting. Like, it might have a joke here or there that'd be funny, but I feel like that would be in the trailer. Because it came out during the time where trailers ruined every movie. Which was, like, basically, I'll say 2006 to current 2016. Their trailers just ruin movies. And I don't mean, like, they spoil the story, though some do. I mean, like, they'll either missell the movie or, like, recharacterize it. Like, they'll sell, like, a drama as a horror, or, like, an action as, like, a musical, or some stupid no, they'll sell a musical as an action, or a drama, or a historical drama, or some stupid crap like that. And it'll just ruin the movie, and it's like, well, good job, you stole my money. Never again. Never again. Until they do it the next time. But I feel like the Fantastic Mr. Fox trailer was the kind of trailer where all of the best jokes were in the trailer. Kind of like some somewhat recent Will Ferrell movies. I can't think of any. What's the one where he is a cop? I want to say he's a cop with Mark Wahlberg. Whatever his name is. Oh. I want to say R.I.P.D., but that's totally not it. That's got Van Wilder, a.k.a. Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds. R.I.P.D., also a terrible movie, but I really don't remember. I want to... Because they're like the B team, or like the worst cop duo, and they go up against the best, or like they're compared to the best cop duo, who's, I think it's The Rock and someone else. I want to say like Jason Statham. And if this isn't a movie, you know, Hollywood, here's your pitch. For a subpar action movie that will at least draw people in. Action comedy. Whatever you want to call it. Speaking of action comedy, has anyone seen the Ride Along movies? Like, there's Ride Along 1 and Ride Along 2. And I haven't seen either. I like Kevin Hart, though. And I like Ice-T. Ice Cube, sorry. Ice-T, he's on Law and Order. Ice Cube, he's on Ride Along. Different people. And I was just confused because I'm drinking some tea. Anyway, I haven't seen them. They look kind of funny. But I haven't seen them. I don't see many movies these days, come to think of it. Like, I still have to see the Batman v Superman, which just came out to date this movie, or episode. And I still haven't seen Star Wars Episode 7. Which is strange, because my friends and I are pretty nerdy, and my friends really love space sci-fi. My roommate, in fact, is a huge, huge Star Wars fan. He likes all the space sci-fi, like, you know, Firefly, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Ocean's 11, all that stuff. So, I know Ocean's 11 is not sci-fi, or it's not space sci-fi. But my point is, I think he's seen the new Star Wars, like, at least 2 times, maybe 3. But I haven't seen it yet. So, there are conversations he wants to have that I cannot have. And it's not like I think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be good, and I think I'm going to like it. Obviously, like so many other people like it. It's just like I haven't bothered. It's it's like I don't know. It just I don't know. It's not even like a hipster thing. Like it's not that I don't like Star Wars anymore because it's not as fringe. It's just that like maybe looking back, I never really liked Star Wars that much to begin with, which is kind of a weird thing. But I mean, let's look back at the actual Star Wars stuff. Episodes 1 through 3 were trash. I mean, there are people way better at breaking down Star Wars than me who can explain it exactly. But let's focus on the sticking points for me. The midichlorians, which is like a sticking point for everybody. It's just like it was kind of brought up and then immediately forgotten. But it was brought up to the extent of like Anakin Skywalker was a Jesus character because he had no father. He just kind of conceived himself because of midichlorians. Which is stupid as fucking hell. Because it ignores, like, some of the most basic biology. But, I will say it explains a lot of his character. Because if he only had one parent, hold on, change, there we go. You might notice that the music is also different at this point too, because it's it's like rats on caffeine playing in the cantina. But back to Anakin Skywalker. If he only had one parent, that means his DNA would not have like the proper sequencing or whatever, because it only has one parent, so it's not drawing from like an X chromosome and a Y chromosome or whatever. It's just got whatever. It only has one half of a DNA thing. It's got the egg, but not the sperm. And don't want to get too technical with my science terms on you, but I think that means Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, technically inbred. Which would explain a lot of his really stupid choices and really stupid dialogue and his overall stupid demeanor. Now, I'm not saying everyone who is inbred is stupid, but there is a high correlation based on anecdotal evidence. I have not done any science behind it, and I don't care to. But for the purposes of this joke, we're going to go ahead and assume Anakin Skywalker is inbred, which makes the pod racing scene all the more amazing and also stupid. Let's talk about the pod racing for a second. Why did George Lucas feel like he had to compete with Ben-Hur? And I don't mean the new Ben-Hur, because obviously, I mean the old Ben-Hur. It's like he wanted to just put in a chariot race that had, like, no real reason to have any consequence or be. And let's forget for a moment that, like, they were letting a kid do this pod racing thing because he was super force sensitive. Let's forget that. Wasn't this kid technically a slave? And the guy who owned him, for whatever reason, wasn't supporting him, but instead was betting on Sebulba. He's Sebulba! He always come in 7th. Or 1st. Whatever. Which also just kind of struck me as odd. Because if you had someone who could be good at pod racing, and the pod racers are like heroes and champions of that society, and like you just owned that kid, why would you not try to build that up and support it? I mean, that seems like a huge cash cow that you could easily do. You could also still bet on Sebulba at the same time, but you could totally be Team Anakin and building up his pod racing skills and his pod racer and all that stuff. And then the Jedi come along and there's like, well, there's no conflict here. Here's your fuel. You can go. I even forget why the the Jedi, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon, I forget why they even took any interest in Anakin to begin with. Maybe because it was that he was Force sensitive. I forget. It's been a long time since I've seen Episode 1, and I've only seen it once. And then we'll go into Episode 2 and 3. Everyone says Episode 3 is the best one. I disagree wholeheartedly. There is two scenes that make it the best ever. One's a meme. The meme one is Darth Vader being born, quote unquote, at the end, going, "No!" Like the biggest douchebag ever in cinema. And that scene is amazing. The other scene is when Anakin Skywalker gets cut to shreds by Obi-Wan. That scene made the entire first 3 episodes for me. It's like, oh, I have wanted someone to do this to this kid for 3 fucking movies, and you finally granted my wish. The rest of those movies are horse shit. Because they make no sense insofar as the plot goes and the characters' choices go, and it's like, yes, if everyone did the worst possible choice ever, sure, Emperor Palpatine could take over, but, like, so could a muffin with a napkin. It really wasn't that difficult. Because, I mean, like, they weren't even trying to, like, prevent any sort of thing. And no one, it seemed like it didn't occur to anyone that bringing balance to the Force, which is what Anakin was supposed to do, could mean he would bring the dark side back. Because, like, from the looks of it, when they started out, the light side was pretty dominant in society at that point. Bringing balance probably meant bringing back the dark side. Or at least they could have avoided that if there was some, like, ominous dark side force that was, like, well-known and, like, present or something. Even if it wasn't within the Galactic Republic or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. Oh, I love this part. This is where I kept throwing javelins through this guy, and it never hit. It eventually hit, but it never hit. Anyway, like, the dark side in episodes 1 and we'll say 2 weren't really big things. I mean, like, I guess there was the droid army, but, like, was that really the dark side? Because that was more like 2 or 3 Sith Lords that was, like, kind of alluded to, and then, like, what, a whole bunch of Japanese space squid merchant things? Or whatever the hell those things were. I don't even know. But they were definitely meant to be Japanese. And, like, the most racist portrayals of them, too. But, or Mongols. I've never met a Mongolian person. Nor have I watched Mongolian anime. Which would probably be subpar. So, what was I talking about? Star Wars. Yeah, everyone says Episode 3 is the best. Episode 3 was the worst for me. Because it was the point in the rebirth of episodes, you know, the prequel trilogy. It was the point where I was the most disenfranchised and disillusioned. And there were points in the movie theater where, like, Anakin Skywalker was delivering very serious dialogue, and I was laughing as hard as I possibly could. Not to be a dick, but because the dialogue was terrible. There was one part towards the end where, like, he's saying to Padme, "Only my powers can save you."
Anakin, all I want is your love.
Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that.
And it was the funniest goddamn line of the entire trilogy. Because it's like, no, they can't, bro. And then 2 seconds later, he's force choking her. It's like, what is your motivation? And people would be like, well, he was corrupted by the dark side. No, no. You can't have it every single way. He's motivated by one thing, and then he forgets what that motivation is. like 5 seconds later. It's not even like 10 years later, and like he's been divorced and is paying child support and is bitter about all this stuff. It's like, no, this is like, you know, he could turn around and just be a new character. So, my favoritism for the episodes is 1 is the best if you cut out all of the child scenes and you focus more on Jar Jar. Jar Jar was great. I don't care what people say. Jar Jar was great. Because he took the prequel trilogy as seriously as everyone else should have taken it. And he realized it was a fucking joke. He is the metaphor for the intelligence, the wit, and I guess the luck of the trilogy, the prequel trilogy. He is the embodiment of the prequel trilogy. That I don't know. You know, for as much as I've been talking about Star Wars in this episode alone, I should probably be playing the Star Wars mod. But, like I said, not really a huge fan of Star Wars. I have played it before. It's okay. It's okay at best. It's subpar at worst. It's okay. But what else, though? Oh, so far as channel content goes, I am currently working on a secret project. A very secret, special project that, should come out. Hopefully, I'll finish it and actually... Well, it's like, we'll say it's 20% done at this point. And I'll work on it. Hopefully this weekend. But I want to get a little bit more quality videos coming out with like thoughtful content and whatnot here and there. So what I'm working on now is starting up probably an infrequent series where it's going to be like the working title is Dare to Compare, which might be the actual title because I probably won't change it. But what it's going to be is comparing source material to later adaptations. And it's going to be something where it's like kind of a single source and then multiple adaptations. If the adaptations also include video games and stuff, that's, you know, better. Not so much just movie and book focus. And what I'm looking at for the first one is probably going to be Starship Troopers, which, if you knew me in real life, IRL, bro, you would know I am a huge Starship Troopers fan. Not because I think it's particularly good. I just love it. It's like, what I say is, everyone gets to love a certain amount of trash. And Starship Troopers is a piece of trash. I will acknowledge how horrible the movie is, how horrible all of the movies are. I will acknowledge that, yes. But I love it. I love watching them. I love how cheesy they are. I love how stupid they are. I love the setting. I love the lines. I love how serious it takes itself. I love it. It is one of my favorite pastimes and a source of inspiration. Because it's like, if people watch something that bad, you know, I got a chance. Anyway, we're getting close to the end of the episode here, so I'm going to go ahead and sign out. So this has been LawWon Gaming. Goodbye.